everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of, a podcast about movies and TV shows and video games and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me per usual are your other three hosts, Alex, Brian, and Devin.
What up? What up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Hi.
How's it going, everyone? Or no. How's it going, Brian? Just Brian.
Just me. That's going.
How's it going,
It's
Brian?
not okay. I'm living my life, living my dream.
It's not a good joke when you don't remember when it's not called back from last week when you were so mad that I didn't
No,
say
I
how are you,
remember
Brian?
what you're talking about. I'm aware.
Yeah. So I think we should probably very quickly just jump into it because this is going to be a hell of an episode. You can probably see how long it is. It's probably a doozy because we got a lot of shit to get through. So let's jump into it with our first segment of the week, which we like to call
News Talk.
All right, so first story of the week. It's probably going to be the biggest story of the year if it stands to be. Microsoft just bought or is going to. It seemed like they will, and it's going to go through Activision Blizzard. They bought it for a whole $68.7 billion.
Chump change. It's nothing.
Jeez.
Like, what in the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's one of those things that makes the most sense, but at the same time, you never saw it coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Does it make sense?
I mean, we've talked about Activision Blizzard a lot over these past few months, and it's been all negative things. So the only way for them to really make it out of this hole was going to be to get bought by somebody.
Okay.
For it to be Microsoft, though, that's crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
I know Microsoft is one of the biggest companies on earth, but like just throwing around that kind of money is wild. They really want that,
especially
Xbox
after they just bought Bethesda,
right?
For like another like 30 billion or whatever it was. I don't remember.
They're going after all the Infinity Stones right now.
Sega's next. You better look out, Sonic.
I don't know if that's an Infinity Stone, man.
I mean, they just spent 70 billion on this. They can buy Sonic for the quarter that he's worth.
That's about $3 billion, probably.
But yeah, it's like I mean, it was the biggest news because mainly I would say Call of Duty is most likely going to be an Xbox exclusive at some point. The deal's not going to go through probably till 2023.
I actually have news about that. It is actually basically concluded that they will not make an Xbox exclusive. They actually, Phil Spencer talked to Sony about, I don't know, maybe a few days ago.
I don't believe him.
He posted on Twitter, he said that we want to keep our relationship with Sony. So we're going to keep Call of Duty cross-platform because we do like that relationship we have so far. So it's actually looking like it's not going to be that way, which was probably the best decision because gating that probably would only make you lose money. I think in the grand scheme of things, they know how much sales they get from PlayStation over Xbox to the point where
But at the same time, why do you spend $70 billion to keep things the same? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just like, I don't know. I don't want it to be because like for me, the biggest acquisitions that I was like would be bummed about in the future were Call of Duty every now and then Crash and Spyro.
Right.
They just took two Sony mascots.
Which that's wild.
I think that's what this was all about. That's what this was all about, just to get those two.
Yeah, for the longest time.
Gone.
I mean, I think keeping cross-platform nowadays is going to be smart, I think, for your business because it helps you incentivize more people to play the game if you can play it with people across your different systems. So
I mean, that's the big thing that we've been talking about with Xbox as a whole is they're not going after the console war right now. They're not really interested in selling their console like talking about. That being said, it's still sold out, but it's not selling nearly as well as PlayStation 5, and I think that's okay for them. And I think this cross-platform with Call of Duty just says the exact same thing, that they're not looking to sell more Xbox consoles. They're looking to now being able to charge Sony way more money to have that on their console. So they still win in the end because they're still getting that revenue. It's basically the Marvel Sony kind of situation where, they're getting all the money from you doing all the work. Like
it's like how Sony gets to charge everyone for the Blu-ray in every Xbox.
Exactly.
I think this really comes back to Game Pass. Like they're trying to just kind of carve that out as like their niche with PC gamers and Xbox gamers, but they can kind of leave the Xbox behind if you have that guaranteed, $10 a month or whatever Game Pass is from PC gamers as well, and you make Game Pass so good. Like, say it's not an Xbox exclusive, but like if Call of Duty's on Game Pass, then that's a lot of money right there because of so many people that play Call of Duty. So
yeah, but it's interesting, but like because Call of Duty already makes like the most money in the world anyways, Right. So it's like I don't know how much more money they're they're expecting to make if they put it on Game Pass, which is not as expensive as his $60 game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's interesting. They're definitely going all in, and I like their model. I think they're killing it with that right now. It's just interesting that you would spend that much money for.
Yeah, I mean, Game Pass might. I mean, we think about things like I don't think we're putting enough like gall on the part of what happens outside of $60 games. $60 games are kind of starting to be out, like phased out in a lot of ways, especially with multiplayer games, to the point where, Halo Infinite came out free, Warzone's free. That actually makes a stupid amount of money despite being a free game because of the microtransactions. If you're leaning heavy into microtransactions, it's night and day the amount of money that they're making on free games. That's why Epic Games is, a multi-billion-dollar company itself, despite only having one actual video game, and it's Fortnite. Like, it's really crazy the amount of money that they can make from that kind of stuff. And if you put it on where you're getting that money now, it's all getting funneled to you. I'm sure that's chump change for them, the way
Oh yeah, absolutely.
what they've just spent on this deal. And I mean, another thing with it, Activision Blizzard makes Diablo, World of Warcraft. Activision used to make Guitar Hero. They say they want to bring stuff like that back. They said they want to bring back some old IPs. Like those kind of things coming on Game Pass. Diablo coming on Game Pass, Diablo 4, if they actually make it, will probably be huge because it's one of those games that a lot of people probably never try because of that cost to get into it.
Speaking of the same thing, I wonder if like this is they'll find a way to get WoW on a console.
World of Warcraft on a console, potentially. World of Warcraft even on Game Pass will be interesting because now people, once again, that wouldn't try it because of the cost factor, it's kind of front-loaded to get into the game. With that disappearing, I mean, that'll change everything. The amount of games I've played on Game Pass that I would never touch otherwise has been pretty crazy. Like, I've played games that I would have never played. But if I'm not paying $60 to play them, you just found a new customer. Now I like this game. I might spend money on other parts of it or buy the next one, stuff like that. So it's interesting. Yeah. We'll see where that goes.
A lot of people have been talking about how, like, is this going to turn into a monopoly? Is that, will this go through fully? And it probably will. I think if Disney did what it did, this will probably also go through.
The antitrust laws are maybe not as good as they should be.
It's a little finagly, I feel.
The government is completely behind the times.
I wonder what Sony's going to have to do to combat this. Like, what other companies are out there for Sony to pick up if they're thinking about that?
Yeah, speaking of Sony, their stock took a $20 billion hit after this happened.
Wow.
And it was like it was the biggest dip since October of 2008.
Damn.
By the way, this is all via IGN, a lot of this information. So yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, I don't know. Sony seems, I think they're just going to keep doing the course that they're on with their exclusives. And
sure,
I mean, that's their bread and butter is their IPs. I would say that Sony, at least personally, I think they're more of a quality over quantity compared to like a Microsoft and an Xbox, where I think they're definitely more high end games on Sony's console at this moment in time, whereas it looks like they're like HBO, and it seems like Microsoft's Netflix, where it's just everything. so I don't know. Sony, I don't know what they're gonna do. It's interesting.
It might be good or bad. I don't know. Sony's with their IPs, there could be a little fatigue going on with that as well. I mean, AAA games being AAA games, they get a little rough for me personally. Maybe that's just me being a jaded gamer, but having the same type of game come out over and over again can only do so much. I can tell they're trying to do something different because they're putting a lot of these games on PC now, with Horizon Zero Dawn coming out on PC. God of War just came out on PC. I think that's interesting, especially for PC gamers finally getting to play a lot of IPs they've never gotten to play because they don't have PlayStation. So that's
Uncharted.
Cool.
Uncharted is about to get on there too.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. I'm interested to see them do more of that. Anything that makes me not to spend more money on more consoles and all this other shit is great for me, the consumer. But
right. I mean, nowadays it's all about access, right? I mean, it's the same way as like streaming platforms, and that's why like NBC with Peacock and everything has to have a streaming platform. And I think as the future goes on, I think it's going to be more about access. How can you get your products to the consumers as easy as possible, and then try to find a way to hook them, right? So that's what Xbox is trying to do here with Game Pass. And I think that Sony's going to have to find a way to, while keeping their exclusive, but make it maybe that I don't have to have a PS5 to do something with their stuff, I think that's what they're going to have to do.
Potentially. It's crazy. Let's talk about the other elephant in the room is your bitch boy, Bobby. There's been a lot of shit going on about him. whether or not he's going to continue to be the CEO of Activision. Now it looks like signs are pointing out that he'll walk away once the merger is complete, which still sucks because he's still going to get like a good $1 trillion to leave or whatever. But
Golden
Wow.
parachute.
it's interesting.
Yeah, I can talk all about this all day because I just know a lot of people that have dealt with his bullshit as CEO of the company. He claims that he has been in talks with Phil Spencer about this over the past like couple of years, and he was trying to actually hold out to see if other people were going to buy instead, acting like he had some kind of foot to stand on in this situation.
I don't want your $70 billion. I want a little more than that.
So they claim he was trying to hold out to get the best offer, and he already knew this was going to happen and had nothing to do, quote unquote, with the allegations they had going on that made him decide to want to sell.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Bullshit. So that happened there with him. It was noted that there was a point that he was actually going to buy websites Kotaku and PC Gamer in order to stop them from negative press put on them. He's basically putting a Jeff Bezos with Washington Post, Huffington Post, where he's just going to buy them instead so that they can't say mean things to him. Dude is an actual fucking supervillain. So it's also pretty standard for CEO to say that they're going to the next company, but once they get the merger and they find redundancies at the top, which companies always do, usually the CEO and the board usually gets kicked and replaced with their own board. That's what happened when Activision took over Blizzard, and that's what's probably going to happen here. So it was expected.
Yeah, I guess like my biggest hope for Phil Spencer when they decided to buy this was that they're going to clean house. Get rid of all the garbage and hopefully help this company and all the other companies that are sub companies of it to get that toxicity out. I'm hoping because Phil Spencer has been very vocal about how shitty Activision has been, and then he bought them the next week. So it's like you better have a damn good plan, man, like or else you're gonna look like a horrible person. So he seems like a good dude. So I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, from what I hear, it's kind of mixed, but a lot of people say that as far as like working in their shell companies, working in the subsidiaries of Microsoft, those game companies, they've been treated really well. They've worked really well on committing to diversity and, having a zero tolerance policy for harassment and things like that. So people are generally happy working there compared to Activision Blizzard. So that's good news. I do know a lot of people that left Microsoft to go to Blizzard, and now they're working for Microsoft again. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So
oh no.
we'll kind of see what happens with that. Speaking of which,
cycle.
Bobby Kotick and how white men fell up. He is projected to probably make about $300 million from getting canned from this. So he's not.
I wish I could make that kind of money getting fired from a job.
Getting fired. Imagine getting fired and making $300 million. I get fired right now, yesterday. Please take me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news for Microsoft is that the bar is so low for them to all they have to do is just some basically decent human things, and they'll probably get huge positive press for it, at least with the employees there.
And that's the thing. One of the biggest things would be Bobby Kotick leaving, and it's so funny because he was probably going to leave anyway. But if you just announce it, now it's like, oh my God, Phil Spencer's the man. It's like, of course they're going to do that.
Yeah.
He didn't do it because he hates Bobby Kotick. He did it because he wants to put his self up there. That's fine. Whatever.
One last thing that's hilarious about his bitch ass was he apparently went to a meeting where he was supposed to reassure the company. It was supposed to be like an hour-long meeting or half an hour. He showed up late and left early. The meeting only lasted like 16 minutes, probably because nobody wanted to hear his ass talk.
This man, hey, if you're gonna get fired for $300 million, why are you even showing up to the meeting at all?
It's true. People know who you are now. You don't have to show face. People understand.
There's nothing you can say to go back on the damage that you've done. It's bad. And speaking of damage done, another thing he didn't talk about when he went on these interviews, talking about how, we actually went down in stock price because, we didn't release Overwatch 2. And it's like, why they didn't release Overwatch 2? Because a bunch of shell companies down there got canned because of you. It was your fault.
Right.
You started letting people go. Raven Software, who works on Call of Duty Warzone, the QA of them, they actually are now the first gaming company to unionize. Their workers there have unionized under, Communication Workers of America. That's actually huge news as well. A unionization happening at the bottom.
It's very exciting.
To fight the top, to fight people like Bobby Kotick. Because even though, the leadership is changing, the game industry as a whole has an issue. It's not just Activision Blizzard. They're just the only people that got caught.
Oh.
So the stance doesn't change.
They're not the only people that got caught. But
true.
It seems like the most shit is happening to them right
like
now.
Riot Games is somehow looking good because they made Arcane, despite them having payouts of millions of dollars over their allegations, which have been mostly proven true. So we have a big shakeup happening in the game industry right now, and hopefully Xbox doesn't fumble the bag because they have easy money on their hands right now if they just treat their workers correctly.
Right, like
That's
a human being. Yeah, crazy. We'll see what this looks like in a couple years when it's fully merged and through.
Hell yeah, Antitrust Box X, Series X, Monopoly Box Series X,
bundled with the next Tony Hawk Pro Skater 11.
Yeah, and then in breaking news, Disney just bought Microsoft, so it's just one big monopoly at the end of the day.
They're coming out with a console. It's the Mickey Box 360.
Oh gosh, Master Chief is gonna be in the Marvel universe.
Speaking of the Marvel universe, we got our first trailer for Moon Knight, the Disney Plus series, with Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. This looks actually pretty interesting. I was gonna watch this anyways. It's coming out in March. I will say about the costume, it looks good. It reminded me of Dune, which is hilarious because it's just Oscar Isaac in another Dune suit. It looks like
it looks like mostly CG of a costume. I mean, we only got like a small glimpse of it, but it didn't look very tangible to me. Maybe it was just like the effects around him, but it looked the style was cool.
Yeah, the cape like looks like it might be CG from time to time, but there's that last shot, the big hero shot at the end when he's coming towards the camera. That looked real to me at least. Yeah, so Moon Knight, it's about a dude. He's got a dissociative identity disorder, so he's kind of got multiple personalities that he is unaware of until obviously this show. I laughed as soon as I heard the Kid Cudi song in the trailer. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a little different for Marvel.
It looks like a psychological thriller type of like a show. It doesn't really look like a superhero thing. So I'm excited to see what it's gonna play into. How it's gonna turn out.
Might be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I hope they I don't know much about Moon Knight character, but I do know what I've seen from like memes where like he calls Dracula like a punk bitch or something. So like,
he calls him a big fucking nerd.
Which big fucking nerd.
Sadly, I found out is not real. It was 100% a meme that someone made.
No.
It's the let Miles Morales Spider-Man say the N-word kind of situation.
It's very disappointing, but it's still the best thing in the world.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think they should still do that. Which is a thing. Speaking of Dracula, there's someone in here that I was wondering, is that Blade? Is that Mahershala Ali's voice as Blade? Is he going to make a cameo in this show?
Potentially.
Because it seems like they might be setting that up with him. They're doing spooky stuff. They're doing they might do a Dracula. It's gonna happen. They're gonna do the vampire shit. Yeah, I wonder if this is how it starts.
Ali just does cameos in he only does cameo voices for the next 10 Marvel movies.
He's never on screen.
Like Blade's coming eventually.
And then the other thing about Moon Knight, you see a lot of stuff with the pyramids of Egypt and stuff because he deals with a lot of the gods of Egypt. So I hope he just goes and fights a bunch of really like 10 feet tall white dudes because, they're the gods of Egypt, right? Gerard Butler is going to be there to fight him.
Oh, no.
Nice.
I hate it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It looks cool. I'm actually excited. I wasn't super excited, mostly because Oscar Isaac's his wee little Oliver Twist accent. Oh, mommy. But it's going to take some getting used to for that one a bit, but it's fine.
I think he's such a good actor that he's going to pull it off. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm genuinely surprised he did this only because I feel like he had such a terrible time on Star Wars that I'm surprised he went back to Disney, but I guess it's Marvel and he's like, all right, fine, I trust you guys.
That purple-haired lady better not come back and just call out Moon Knight for causing a mutiny or something. Like I don't know. That's trying to make a bad last joke. Bad last Jedi joke.
That was a stretch. All right, last thing, real quick, because I think me and Devin are probably the most excited about this. Amazon's The Lord of the Rings show finally got a title, The Rings of Power. And it was revealed in a pretty cool trailer that I was very surprised that was genuinely practical. Like that was all practical effects in that little trailer reveal of the title. I was like, oh wow, that's kind of a nice thing because it's not super CG bloated, which hopefully means this show goes more towards a Lord of the Rings feel rather than a Hobbity feel.
Right.
So we'll see.
I am excited.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see that it was all like practically made. Super, super cool.
Very excited. This could be so good, and it should be with the amount of money that they put into it.
Yeah, it's like the most expensive thing on TV ever made. So
Better be.
I'm curious what the story will be about, because like the Second Age, I think like Numenor is still there, and like the elves are still pretty powerful, but like a lot of it should be about like Sauron kind of leading like the kingdom of Numenor astray, and like, you know, like fighting with the elves and men and stuff like that. So
I mean, it's called the Rings of Power. It depends on which rings it's talking about, because there are quite a bit of Rings of Power in that universe.
So it could be like,
I don't know.
I'm sure maybe they'll cover, but like the fall of the Nine, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know. Generally, the Second Age is not like, it's not happy. So I don't know. Like we'll see, we'll see what they do with it. But I'm very curious. But it's a lot. You know, it's a lot that we don't really know much about from either The Hobbit or the original trilogy. So it'll be cool to kind of fill in those holes. I just hope that whoever they're writing the show, that just like knows deep in the Silmarillion, just like, you know, just pull everything from the good adaptation.
It's gonna be a weird thing, just because Lord of the Rings is my favorite franchise of all time. So it's gonna be a weird adjustment to not hear the music that you're used to,
Wow, true.
So we'll see. We're gonna have to see how this goes. I'm still very excited. I hate that it's Amazon, but I'm still very excited. All right. That's it. I think we finished. That's all the big news. Shall we move on to our main topic of the week?
Let's do it.
All right, boys, this is it.
This is it.
We're in another fortress. We're trapped. This one is filled with a lot of nostalgia as well.
I thought you were going to say something completely different with that. I thought you were going to get sticky with it, and I was like,
no.
No.
Let's just get into it. It looks like we're in the fortress of
Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever
no spoilers
Spider-Man do. Swings from webs, is a clone, and sometimes he shoots more webs than he's got. Look out! Here comes the Spider-Man.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Yes.
Thank you.
Woo.
Everyone, we are in the Fortress of Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh man.
The biggest movie of 2021.
Of our lifetime.
We'll start out with no spoilers real quick, but I know we want to jump into it because there's a lot to talk about. I will just say this movie is so much fun. A shit ton of fun. I still think Far From Home is a better movie than this movie.
Interesting.
What?
Yes,
I don't know about that one.
I'm excited to get into it. I think Far From Home is overall a better, more sensible movie that makes sense. But
wow,
if I had to choose, I would watch this one because it is just the biggest, most popcorny roller coaster of a ride fun.
This is one of
I've had in a while.
I think this is the best Marvel movie. It's my new favorite Marvel movie. I think it's arguably the best made Marvel movie. It hits on it hits on all the notes you want out of a good film, especially a good Marvel movie. It's very funny. It's got great action sequences. The story is top notch. It's got a little bit of like sci-fi elements. It gets a little bit weird.
And it's like a strong word.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about it.
I fully stand by that. I was invested in the story. I was invested in all the characters. I was like excited to see what was going to happen next. Maybe it wasn't the most like ingenious plot line, but it was like a good story. Like it had me invested. Furthermore, I was almost cried like 3 times during the movie, which doesn't really happen.
It's okay to say that you cried.
Marvel movies.
I almost cried. He almost cried 3 times.
If I cried, I would let you know. Like you know when it's like caught in your eyelash and doesn't drip. You know what I'm saying?
I'm seeing a tear forming right now just talking about it. I don't know.
It's a really emotional movie. It
really is.
It had me feeling a lot of things, which I really loved.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I don't want to say I'm on the opposite of it. I also very much love this movie and I'm excited to probably own it. And I don't own many Marvel movies because why? Whatever. Yeah. But I just think that it was a really good movie, but it also is a testament to how much nostalgia and fan service can affect an audience. Because like you said, like the story was top notch. It was not. It was not top notch. It
Not
was
top notch. Okay.
If you didn't have the nostalgia that you had behind all those characters or the characterization, I think that it would have been a very lackluster story as a whole.
1,000,000%.
Okay.
So I think what made it so great is like, yeah, like seeing all those characters again and then seeing them in a different light was very interesting and super cool. But it's like if you put that with you replaced any of those characters with anybody else, you would have been like, what the? Why is he helping the what is this? Like,
without any spoilers, some classic villains come back from other Spider-Man movies and unexpected ways, and they kind of it kind of gets crazier from there.
If you've seen the trailer, you know who to expect. We're not going to spoil anything that wasn't in those trailers, though.
Yeah. But yeah, that kind of thing is just like, that's why I think I agree with Oscar there when he talks about Far From Home being the better overall movie. 'Cause, yeah, I think that story was much more tight and had a better sequence of events. Where this one was just kind of like,
it's just a tighter story.
Yeah.
It's a story that makes sense.
Even in the movie theater, I think I looked over to my friend and was like, what the fuck is this?
What do you mean? What doesn't make sense, or is that?
We'll get into it.
We'll get into
we'll get into it. Yeah.
What kind of happened there? And I know it's to get those story beats to make like the humor, like you said, and bring those heartstrings and stuff like that. But
they're just very flimsy with their own established continuity in this movie is the problem,
right?
And we'll get into it. But Devin, what'd you think?
I mean, I loved it. So for me, it's like top 5
for sure.
I don't know. I don't really rank them anymore, but yeah, it's up there. Like because of kind of what you all said, but I think all Marvel movies kind of like rely on that you've seen of their superhero movies and stuff. And the Marvel universe obviously relies on that you've seen all the ones leading up to it. So I think that's what part of what makes the MCU so great is that they like plan for you to have seen all that other stuff. So yeah. So I don't know, but I loved it. And like y'all said, it was so much fun. And I don't know, it was the first time I've been very, very excited for a movie to like go and actually see one for a while. And I was not disappointed, not at all.
You know me, so. I'm, like I said, nostalgia is the easiest thing you can sell to me in the world. You can just fucking put something in the exact same case and be like, Brian, you played this when you were 10. And I'm like, hell yeah, bro, $60, give it to me. So like this movie was once again just right up my alley when it came to that kind of stuff. We were just like, yeah, you like old shit? I sure do.
Yeah,
please.
And like we all knew it was coming, but like you didn't know, but you knew. And then like the way they did it, I thought was very good. Like the way they sequenced, like, well, I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything.
All right, let's. All right, so I think we're all in agreement that we all really love this movie. Like I will iterate. I love this movie so much, but it's also really fun to pick it apart just because it's funny. So with that, let's jump into spoilers. Check the time codes in the show notes. It'll let you know. Let's just do the big spoiler. Fucking Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are both back in this fucking movie. Like everyone already knew they would be.
All 3 Spider-Mans. They literally jump off that one thing, and then one of them, I don't know which one it is, but he webs the other 2 and like twirls them around themselves.
Yes.
And like, oh, that shot was so fucking awesome. Like when they're all like,
I think it was Tobey White. I feel like they acknowledge that Tobey Maguire is the I'm gonna call it the prime Spider-Man Prime.
He's the best.
Spider-Man Prime.
He's the best.
He's been through the most shit. He succeeded in becoming like the best version of himself with Mary Jane, with Spider-Man. He doesn't have to manufacture his own webs. He's the best. And I think in the beginning he webs up Andrew Garfield. They're like doing the same stunts and like dodging their webs. But then Toby gets his ass. He's like, pow, pow. Show you this one, pow.
That was so great.
I mean, Toby been through the most shit. I don't know about that, man.
I'm the king.
Fight Thanos.
I would say,
the universe destroyer.
Yeah.
He's like the best superhero, but Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he had that block on lock. That man, no one was fucking around in
Tom
New York.
Holland and Toby kind of go back and forth, and then I think one of the funniest things is that they all acknowledge that Andrew Garfield is definitely
Andrew Garfield's the worst.
He's like, man,
even he acknowledges it himself.
He's like,
kind of lame.
Yeah, like I just feel kind of lame compared to you. And then when they're cutting off, he's like, okay, Spider 1, Spider 2, and he's like, yeah, Peter 3.
He's like, Peter 3.
Peter 3.
I mean, but it was nice because they had that little callback where they're like, no, man, it's fine. You're amazing.
You're amazing
Spider-Man. It's like,
you are amazing
he did
Spider-Man.
the thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments like that in this movie, which I do love. Like those are the type of things that get me, which why I love this movie, even though there's parts of it that don't make sense. But I will say, the reveal of both Spider-Man, I think Andrew's was stronger just because
Mm-hmm.
you see him in the distance when Ned does the portal, which we'll talk about. Ned's magical now. Anyways, and you see him in the distance. And immediately when that happened, I could hear the entire audience gasp out loud. Because it's like, you already know. It's like, oh my God, that's that. You know who that is. And then he jumps through and rips the mask off. And like everyone went nuts. And then Toby shows up. And his intro is a little more subtle.
Oh, it's just some guy.
Yeah,
he's just the guy that walks through.
I love that, and I had to think about it because I talked to Brian about this before as well off podcast. Was I had to think about, was like, is Toby sleepwalking through this? I'm not sure. And then I was like, no, he's actually committing 100%. I forgot that his Peter Parker is just like so incredibly boring a lot of the time.
He's also a lot older than everybody else.
Right.
He's like, he's been through a lot. And even Doc Ock, like when they, towards the end where they acknowledge each other, he's like, oh, Peter, like, you grown up. You're doing all right. You grew up, man.
Yeah. And he's like, I figured it out. I try to do better,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I was worried the whole time that he wasn't going to put on the suit, that he had like some kind of contract. I know Tobey Maguire can be a bit of a diva in his life. And I thought he was going to be like, I ain't putting on that fucking suit again. Fuck y'all. So he's going to walk around and be normal ass dude that kind of like, ends up being the I guess, shepherd to the other Spider-Man. Thank God they didn't do that, because that
which is why I love when Andrew Garfield says, "Hey, do you got a suit, or are you gonna fight crime as a cool youth pastor?"
And then they acknowledge that the thing too, because both of them were more comic book accurate, that they make their own webs, and they're like, how does it work for you? Like, we're just kind of curious, like like just
which
come
I
down
love.
here.
I always love the organic webs more than the web shooters,
Yeah.
only in the sense that. Why does he have every single thing a spider can do except web shooters? Like, it doesn't make any. It never made sense to me. But yeah, so all right. Let's talk about the villains. We get the return of a shit ton of classic Spider-Man villains. Willem Dafoe is fucking terrifying.
Yo, he was really fucking cool.
Oh
he did
my
a great
God!
fucking job.
He put his movie
And
on
they
his back.
finally did the thing where everyone's always wanted, where they just let him be his own damn face because he's got a goblin face. And it's perfect. He didn't need a damn helmet.
Yeah,
he looks like a goblin.
I'm glad that helmet got smashed early on. Because I rewatched the original Spider-Man several years ago, and as much as I love it, it was really hard to get down with the costumes. Like,
his costume is
especially
terrible.
during the daytime. I think it's like the Macy's Day Parade or something when they're clashing for the first time in broad daylight. And it just feels like, maybe it's the shots they were getting where it's like full body, but it just felt very Power Rangers to me.
Yeah.
They're like kind of stiff and like moving, and the masks.
And you throw in the element that like he was making it as like a defense contractor, and it's like that's the most like dystopian, like, are we the baddies kind of thing. If you were sending those guys into like a war zone, like to kill people, like it's like, no, they're gonna dress up like Power Rangers too, like drop grenades on people.
It was when we were still in that time where we didn't really know what realistic feels like when it comes to new age stuff. We think everything has to be shiny and super pretty, and that just made it like fucking stupid.
I mean, when you watch it as a kid, you're like, oh yeah, he's the Goblin, that's the bad guy. But when you're watching it as an adult, I'm like, how did the board of Oscorp approve this like design for their super suit? Like, this is ridiculous.
But yeah, so he's fantastic. We'll get more into them in a little bit. I just wanted to briefly talk about all the other ones. Doc Ock, I'm so glad that they kept him a hero.
Yeah, that was
my
really
my biggest
great
concern.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was worried his thing was gonna get shocked again and he'd be bad and have to die. But I'm glad he went out a hero.
Yeah, me too. Just because then it still makes Spider-Man 2 the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion. Still, it makes that movie like his redemption arc almost moot if he becomes just a villain immediately again. So I'm glad that they did it back again. But he was great too. I kind of still miss his practical tentacle arms. They're all pure CG now, but it was fine. I mean, it didn't look bad. It looked okay to me. I will say that opening fight with him and Spidey on the freeway, it's pretty cool. I like how it's a forearms versus forearms because Spidey whips out the Iron Spider suit. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
and the fact that they fully acknowledge, because I thought about this too, that Spider-Man's dealing with 2020's technology versus Doc Ock's 2004 technology, so he just immediately takes over the arms. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Thank God for that.
Yeah. Tony Stark remains undefeated.
Yeah.
Got it.
And And then the other villains, we'll get to them. But
you don't want to talk about them right now?
let's get to them. Let's go back to the beginning because the reason why they're here and Doctor Strange, because he gets he exits the movie halfway through for obvious reasons.
Okay, actually, I forgot about him. He's probably the worst part about the movie. If there's anything that doesn't make sense,
Oh,
it's definitely
really?
him, yeah.
His decision making is the stupidest thing on earth.
Oh, that's one reason why this movie's like this movie is just 100% Marvel hand waving. Don't think about it, because if you think about it, then it's like, why are these things happening? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Doctor Strange is the worst in this movie. Why is he even thinking about fucking with reality? Because this boy can't go to college. It's like, oh, just deal with it. Just go to community college like you're going to anyways, and just deal with the shit, man. Like, it makes no sense.
At first he turns him away, and then he changes his mind. Why does he even change his mind?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
He said, you know what? Let me give the kid a bone.
He's just like, because he feels bad.
Okay.
But it's just like,
he was like making such a strong point. He's like, you know what? Like, this is life. Like, you have to deal with it. And then 2 seconds later, he's like,
exactly.
2 seconds later, he's arguing to the other person. Like, no, we should do this for him. That happens. And so
I get
quick.
it. Like, Doctor Strange, he's like so arrogant and thinks he can do everything and anything. But it's still just like, you just got through Infinity War, where it's like you were like, we can't fuck with reality and blah blah blah. Now he's like, I'm gonna rewrite the whole world. Why not? Who cares?
Why not?
I just want to see the kids go to school. Do it for the kids.
That's a problem for me in this movie, is that at the end of Far From Home, they make it such a big deal that Peter is. They know the world knows Peter's Spider-Man and he's wanted for murder, and they just hand wave that whole murder plot away in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
It's okay. They got Matt Murdock to
again.
Catch
Here
a
we
break.
go.
That was cool.
They got fucking Daredevil back, man.
That was cool.
Is that not how you win cases? You don't catch bricks, and that's boom.
That was amazing. I'm not gonna lie, that was awesome.
And then they don't do anything else with them ever again. It was just it was one of those situations where it was a fan service, so you can just go,
oh yeah,
that's the guy. That's the guy right there. And that was it. And then they used it for nothing. And it was like, okay, we know Daredevil exists in this world. The end.
That one was fine for me because I didn't think he'd be in this movie more than a cameo anyway.
I thought they would have done a little bit more with the murder part. Like you said, like, this man is wanted for murder. And they're just like, nah, he's not.
I hate that shit. It was the same thing that with like a Thor: The Dark World, where at the end it's like they made a big deal that Loki is Odin. And then they just hand wave that shit away for Ragnarok in the first 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's so stupid. It's annoying. But anyways, the murder thing, Daredevil was cool. And then they just hand wave his murder. So the whole main reason why Peter wants to do this is not to make people think he's not a murderer, but it's just so he can get his friends into college. And it's just like,
what a nice guy.
Dude, come on. I get it. He's a kid and he thinks like a child, but it's just like Doctor Strange is an adult.
And an adult that holds the keys to the multiverse.
He should think better than that.
That's the thing. Like, every single Spider-Man movie has had that older brother, like father relationship with Spider-Man. Like, he's always had, like, the first one was Iron Man, the second one it was Mysterio, and then this one it was Doctor Strange. And he, like, I don't know, they've kind of gotten locked into that.
They all kind of look the same too, just a bunch of white dudes with beards. Brown-haired white dudes with beards. Like, what's going on there?
Tom Holland's got a type.
Oh, no. Daddy issues hitting strong.
Yeah, so that's why I guess Doctor Strange decides to do this. I do like that Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme, though. I thought that was kind of a cool twist. I was like, oh, okay, good for you, Wong. But yeah, and he does the spell, and Peter's just like, but like, Doctor Strange, why wouldn't you ask Peter before you just start whipping magic about, hey?
He just starts going.
I'm like, you don't want to ask him if he wants anyone to know? Like, even yourself? You're going to forget too? You're fine with, like, he didn't think for a second about anything else.
Like he's so excited to do this spell, he doesn't want to waste any time. He just wants to get started right away. Like, I got to use the bathroom, so let's hurry up and finish this up.
Yeah. Listen, was it strong? No. But did it get the story where it needed to be to get all three Spider-Mans on the same screen? Yes, and for that reason, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, do what you got to do.
You can literally do whatever you want.
We can't allow this anymore, guys. We can't allow this poor storytelling just to get to the next. That's how Game of Thrones ended up the way it was. We can't allow it.
You might be right there.
No, it's whatever. It's fine. I mean, I just thought it felt like it was going to be a lighter movie for that reason. But the thing is, it's not light. This has super huge repercussions in the entire universe, which is so weird to make a movie that's so fan servicey like this mean so much.
Before we jump into that, because I think that's a good thing we can get to, I have to complain about Peter's dumb reasoning one more time. He wants to get into MIT and he can't. His best friend was fucking Tony Stark, who's like the most famous alumni from that school. He could have just called Pepper like once and be like, "Hey, Pepper, they won't let me in because they think I'm a murderer, even though I helped save the world. Can you help me get into MIT?" And it's done.
Can you
It's
build
like,
one
what are you-
building? Like,
It's dumb.
that's how
It's so-
normal
it's-
rich kids go to school. Come on, man.
It's
Like,
so annoying. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about the next big moment of the movie. I would say of the sadness. Aunt May dies. Like,
No.
Oh,
fuck, bro.
It's so hard.
Oh God.
she's so pretty. No, haha, don't die. You're so high.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
happy.
When she says "with great power," though, oh my God,
Yeah,
That was
shit-
great.
That shit hit.
I almost lost it.
And I like that she technically says it the actual correct way that no movie has said it, not even like the original Spider-Man, where she says, because most people think it's with great power comes great responsibility, but it's actually with great power there must also come great responsibility. And she says it exactly like that, right before she eats it.
Oh, is that the line in the comic? That's a lot of words.
Yeah, yeah, they simplified it for
It's a little
obvious
wordy.
reasons,
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, I thought it was funny because I remember when we were watching it and she gets fucking leveled by
oh my god,
Yeah, I was
by
like, dang, she's a
Goblin's,
freaking
little
trooper.
thing. Yeah, I was like, she just gonna get
Yeah,
up from that? What the
she
fuck?
got
I thought she got
clothesline.
cut in half.
Yeah, I was like, that, I'm
It
pretty sure
felt
that thing
like
is
what's her
pointy.
name from WandaVision when she gets superpowers all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I forget the name, but anyway, yeah, I just thought that was really surprising.
Yeah.
yeah, because he
Yeah.
just got up from. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure that's whatchamacallit. Tobey Maguire was about to use this man to kill. He used to kill. Fucking.
I was like, this is how Green Goblin died.
Like, he got stabbed with that. And she just goes, ugh, oh, whew, that sucks. I'm like, what the
For a
fuck?
second, I was like, "Oh, it's an MCU movie. Like, she's gonna be fine." And then it's like, "Oh, wait, like, no, she's not okay."
Yeah, they have to do
So-
that whole kind of, that subverting expectations thing where you've
But-
been stabbed and then adrenaline's there and then the adrenaline wears off. And you're like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
I've been stabbed.
But they
I've been
think they did
stabbed.
that because he hadn't really experienced. Tom Holland's had. I mean, he
No.
experienced the loss of Iron Man, but that was different from what the other two had experienced of like very direct losses to people that they loved that were hurt because they were Spider-Man.
Right. We never saw that in the first one, which I never really thought about.
Yeah, but they set that up for that moment where they all go through it, and it's like, you're not alone, bro. Like, I lost my uncle, I lost my girlfriend, like, and they all kind of go through their own traumas and they come together. So
Spider-Man
Yeah,
is such a
it's necessary
tragedy.
for that moment.
That has been a big point of contention about these Spider-Man movies in particular, is that one of the biggest things of Spider-Man's mythos is that his life sucks.
Yeah.
And so, and this Spider-Man's life never really sucked all that bad.
You're
So
right.
it's like the tragedy is going to happen at some point.
hmm
But I thought it was a really well done scene, and I was very saddened by it, just because, I mean, yeah, now he's alone.
hmm
God damn, Goblin's a prick. Holy shit. Going back
so good.
to when that fight scene.
That fight scene was
He
sick.
is just obliterating him in that whole fucking
Why
scene.
is Willem Dafoe so
Mhm.
damn? It's that old man strength. Why is that man so strong?
Well, he's super strong. He's got super strength in him
Yeah.
with the goblin serum, but it's like, in the moment, I forgot. And I was like, he's just tearing his ass through floors of buildings
I know,
and shit.
It
Yeah,
seemed like
that was
like
crazy.
Tom Holland went through every single floor of that building. Like, he got smashed through so many floors.
There were so
Wrestling
many
moves.
like pro wrestling moves. Yeah, I was like,
I'm pretty
shit.
sure he suplexed him at
Like,
some
Goblin
point.
thinks about smashing him through a wall, and he's like, "Nope, just smash him
He
through
did a
another floor."
backflip into a body slam.
No.
Yeah.
So one thing I learned is apparently Willem Dafoe likes to do his own stunts, and so most of these are actually him
Wow.
doing that. That's why they're a little stiff. But also, I just think that's great because that man's in his 60s. Like, he's not young. So to see this man, he's with of course wires and stuff, is he's actually trying to suplex this man right now. Like, that's
It was great.
dope. I love that so much. I love Willem Dafoe and how much he sells this character.
He's the best. I love that when Peter's just like decking him and he just starts laughing and cackling in his face. I'm like, Peter's never gone against someone like this in his life.
That's
where
a true
he-
psychopath right there.
There's no reasoning with him whatsoever. It's just
Very, very
crazy.
Joker.
Right, which is
Yeah.
that's what's funny because like all the other villains in this, they could basically be reasoned with. You can like talk them
Right.
down a little bit. And this guy just like, ah, fuck you. And it's like, oh shit, hit him some more. Ah, it's scary.
Oh, it's so true though. Speaking of villains, Jamie Foxx is the weakest villain in this.
You
When
think
it
so?
comes
With
to-
Sandman?
Yeah,
I
Sandman
was
is
going to
worse.
correct when it came to like the ones that had the most screen time between
Okay.
Goblin, Doc Ock, and him. Jamie Foxx is probably the weakest in the sense that he's just kind of a different character than he was in The Amazing Spider-Man
What?
2. They've just been like, just be cool, Jamie Foxx in this
It
movie.
felt
It
like he
doesn't
was just
matter.
being Jamie
Really.
Foxx. It felt like he was just
Yeah.
being himself, and he happened to have superpowers for
The
a little
way they
bit.
sell him is so weird, and it makes me uncomfortable because, like, I know he's a good actor, but like, he was not selling this at all. He's just like, "Yo, man, like, this shit wild. I like electricity, bruh." And I'm just like, "Wait, are you good? Are you high in this movie? What's happening?" Like, I don't know. Every single time he showed up on screen, it just felt like it was a mockery of the character. Like, not to be like disrespectful, but it just felt like it was almost a satire of it. Like they were making fun of him. And I know like Amazing Spider-Man version of him wasn't great because the way he turned into, the guy.
He was a caricature.
Electro. Yeah, well, that was super goofy. But it seemed like they just almost leaned into it, but in a different way. Like all the problems with the Amazing Spider-Man version, they just learned nothing from that and just did new stuff that was equally bad. So I hated his character personally.
Oh, I didn't think it was equally bad.
I thought it was stupid as fuck, dude. The only cool thing was he got a cool costume finally.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the villains from the Amazing Spider-Man were here just because they kind of had to be. Like, because like to get Andrew Garfield, you also have to get the lizard guy. And that's the thing. I didn't watch either of the movies fully, but like, you have to
I
bring
still
in
think
Jamie
the
Foxx.
lizard design sucks. I hate his face. I don't like it. He needs more of a dinosaur snout, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
But whatever.
That's fair.
But
I can
that's
see where
right,
you're
but
coming from.
they clearly took a backseat to Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Like, in
Oh,
this, and like Sandman was there too. One thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about was like, that the whole premise was that everybody that knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, but like, so there's a few. There was one or two omissions that should have been there, right? But like, for obvious reasons, they probably couldn't. But I don't know. I mean, they like Jamie Foxx and Lizard were always going to take a back seat.
And I mean, it's because they're the less popular movies, and they wanted to make people the most excited. So you make them the most excited by getting them the Spider-Man that we love the most. Because unfortunately, Andrew Garfield was not that.
Right. I want to go back to what Devin said. The whole premise of the reason they're coming is because they know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. This is what doesn't make any damn sense. Jamie Foxx shouldn't be there then. There's literally a scene in the same movie where he finds out that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. It doesn't make any damn sense within its own fucking movie.
And that's why it makes the whole joke like, man, your life sucks. I thought you're going to be black.
Right,
like,
which
that
is
was a
very
great line,
funny.
But it makes no fucking sense.
Also, shouldn't like MJ have come in from Peter from the old Tommy
A
Maguire
lot
ones?
of people should have come
Chris
in.
does not want to work on this movie no more.
And also, I guess Hobgoblin, but I guess James Franco can't bring him in anymore. But
they're not gonna get him back now. But that was another like one of those just hand wavy, don't think about it moments where it's just like you're establishing this in your own movie and you're not even abiding by your own damn rules of the universe you're making.
Right.
Well, maybe Mary Jane was there, but she just didn't like. How long were the Peter Parkers walking around before?
No, I just meant that Jamie Foxx is there.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, no one ever
totally
found
forgot
Mary
about
Jane.
that.
She's still just walking around the street. She got some pizza. She went to Sbarro or something.
Yeah. She's still lost.
Yeah, I guess maybe she was there the whole time.
She's still walking around. They forgot to blip her back. Fuck.
She's still there.
It's just a lot of like we're just, and again, I must reiterate, I love this movie, but it's just a lot of like, yeah, don't worry about it. Shut up. Watch the nostalgia on the screen.
The whole thing about how they capture the villains and stuff, I think is stupid. It's just like you have to make a plot device to make the movie go by faster because you can't make anything that if you make it that makes too much sense and it's too realistic, then no one's going to be interested in it. So it's just like, here is this box. Press the box. They go in. Now they're in jail. And it's like, sure, video game. That's fine. Whatever. Collect 8 of the people and then you complete the story. Sure, whatever. Fine. But just also, it felt so weak. So I'm just like, we're really going to make this the plot of the movie that you just have to go and play Ghostbusters with these fucking old men?
It was funny, though. Like, it made it funny for them to, like, have the conversations amongst each other and stuff. Like, I think that was definitely worth it to have them all in the same room.
But another weird continuity issue that they just have in this movie. Why does everyone know that Norman was the Goblin? Because wasn't the whole damn point of the Spider-Man movie was that he hid that fact from Harry so that he wouldn't know his dad was the Green Goblin?
True.
Oh, true.
It doesn't make any sense. And they're all like, no, he's Norman Osborn. he became the Green Goblin and died. You're
Well, maybe after he died.
Yeah, maybe they released it after he died. Maybe that's one of those kind of things.
Maybe years later between movies.
You've seen those news reports, man. They be on that shit.
No, because in Spider-Man 2 and 3, Harry doesn't find out until the third Spider-Man movie.
Damn, that's true though. Fuck.
Oh. Whoops.
I mean, it should be pretty obvious.
So it's fine. They're literally just picking and choosing what they want to take from everything else. It's just it just makes it a flimsier movie, which is why I still think Far From Home as a movie as a whole is better. But this is just way funner.
Yeah, but this was more entertaining. So
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the point was supposed to be all of them before they died. And Doc Ock,
Right.
Octodad, that didn't die. He died in the second one. Like, it doesn't...
He wouldn't know that
know.
Goblin is Norman. It doesn't make no damn sense.
What I want to know is what's going to happen. I wish we could see like a little glimpse into life after they bleep bloop back to normal.
Maybe they will. Like,
I
maybe
agree.
they'll do like one Tobey Maguire.
It'll be a Disney Plus
movie.
original.
Like, is Doc Ock still going to die? Is he going to bleep right back to when he and Peter Parker are fighting? And
He's
gonna
drowning?
Wait. I am not that anymore. Hold on.
That's what's my thought. I was like, wait, are you just curing all of these men to just send them back to the universe to die as normal men now?
No, because
Like-
I don't know. Like, that's what's so vague about it, right? But it was cool. Like, the redemption of, Norman Osborn and Doc Ock was so cool because their like villainous natures was so tragic in the first two Spider-Man movies. I don't really care about the Amazing Spider-Man ones, but like
You shouldn't.
they were so tragic, and like you're like, if only Norman Osborn like had just not done that, or like if Doc Ock, if that little thing at the back of his head just hadn't malfunctioned, then he would be fine. Like like, and then they fixed that. Like, so it's cool that they fixed it and sent it back. It's cool that they didn't just like corral them up and send them back. Like, yeah, whatever, they're gonna go die. It's like, no, like let's actually like redeem them and fix them. And
That was supposed to show that
So that
Spider-Man's
was
good
super
no
cool.
matter what.
Which I want to talk about the Deus Ex Machina box that cures all problems in the world. What the fuck is this box? What? This box can just make anything?
Remember how I made fun of Wonder Woman 1984 for having a really stupid plot device that was just magic and dumb and made no sense? That's this. And I trashed on that movie, so I can't let it. I can't let it slide in this movie. If I'm
The
gonna trash another
fabrication
movie.
box that he uses to make all of their cures.
Oh, well, he's a damn scientist, and I don't know.
But that's not science.
Yeah, but what does the box
what,
do?
the fabricator?
The box. I
Fabricator?
thought the box bleeps them back to their realities from Doctor Strange.
It helped.
No,
No,
Are we talking about
the
the
little
fabricator
thing
or
that
the-
went through the wall that he uses to create. Also, he used it in the second movie to make his suit. It's just literally just a box that makes whatever.
It makes
you want.
It's a
matter.
fabricator. Yeah. It's a Tony Stark thing.
Yeah.
Listen, it's Tony Stark leading the MCU once again.
It can make a dishwasher do anything, dude.
It's like the ultimate 3D printer. It can make liquids. It can make whatever the
Whatever
fuck
you need.
want. It's
Whatever
fine.
you need. Hey,
It's just one of those things that it's like, yeah, this is so that you don't have to question the sciencey part.
Exactly.
Right.
It does whatever you
That's
want
what I
it to
need in
do.
my
and
life.
Happy just happens to have it as at his apartment.
Yeah, that was some Sim City
Oh,
shit right
so
there. I
funny.
don't know what was going on there.
The bot, whatever. That one I gave it a pass. So I was like, all right, we'll move the plot. Let's go. Who cares?
Yeah.
It led to one of probably the best scenes of this movie right before all of the shit hits the fan, where Peter's just senses something. And it's like the most tense scene right before the Goblin reveal, where he's just like walking around and he's like, something's
Something's not
about
right.
to go down. What the, like, oh, it was so good.
He's on a
Yeah.
whole ass panic attack. Like that's not Spidey senses, man. Your heart's shutting down right now. You need to take some breaths.
I think this was my favorite movie where they visualized the spider sense. I don't think in any other movie they did like the vertigo effect where they zoom in or they dolly in and zoom out, so it makes that like the camera's getting closer to the subject, but the background getting
The
distorted.
parallax. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love those shots when they're done really purposefully. And they did that almost every time he had the spider sense, and then it's like just walking around with the camera like kind of locked to his body in a really cool way.
It felt like a panic attack. It's what I think
Yeah, it
of.
felt like a panic attack or like how
Yeah.
you were like really inside of his head. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. And they hadn't really done that before with Spider-Man in the MCU. Like Tom Holland's Spider-Man hadn't really done a lot of like, you didn't have like that zing, like
At
spider
one point, it
sense
was
that-
broken. He couldn't get it up.
Oh,
Right. Well, like, yeah, that was the whole point of the last movie at the end, was that he finally got it back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was great. And it led to the big fight and the Aunt May death. This movie's so good and so dumb at the same time.
just good. Just good.
Just again with the establishing rules. Sandman shouldn't be there if the fact that they're all supposed to die because Sandman doesn't die. But who cares? Whatever. Just we want
I have
Sandman
a
in this movie.
daughter. That's what we kept saying over and over again in this stupid voice. I have a daughter.
Which I'm pretty sure, like, I'm pretty sure it confirmed that him and the lizard were not didn't film anything for this movie. I'm pretty sure they just lent their voices, and that was all like reused footage from their old movies at the end when they turned back to normal men or whatever.
Dang,
Wow.
Which you can kind of tell. Some of it looks a little ish
Goofy.
to me.
Yeah.
Mainly the Sandman when he's sitting
Sandman.
in the crown of the Statue of Liberty.
I think even the
Wow.
CGI looked kind of rough, in my opinion. I know it's kind of hard to do sediment and stuff like that in CGI. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but I just always thought he looks the most cartoony to me. Like he always felt like he was very obviously like composed in around the scene and stuff. I think he was the weakest part of the entire movie as far as villains go.
Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of forgot he was in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, Lizard is mostly forgotten as well. They put him in the back of a van for half the movie.
Yeah, he didn't want to come inside, so
Yeah, I think Lizard and Sandman were definitely the weakest. Jamie Foxx was, not too bad, but obviously the main two are the Tobey Maguire ones.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the big one in the Amazing Spider-Man second movie as well, but they flushed it out by putting 18 other villains in it. Listen, if they just left Electro and didn't even put them in, it would have been probably a way better movie. Rough.
So, final thoughts.
Yeah.
We all loved the movie. It's a 10 out of 10. Highly
Yeah,
recommend.
right.
No issues at all.
I do love the movie. I mean, it feels the way that like Dragon Ball Super feels to me, where it's like, if I really take the time to think about it, is it good? Not really, but I love every single moment of it because that moment to moment is exactly what I want, and they know it's exactly what I want, so they keep feeding it to me, and that's an easy win. Like it doesn't always have to be the most thought provoking movie. It can sometimes just be, like you said, a popcorny movie that just makes you feel good. And this movie made me feel good because I got to see Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Dreams do come true.
right, exactly. Like no one saw that coming. When did the first movie come out? Like 2001. Like,
Yeah.
that's wild. It's 2022 right now, and we're watching Spider-Man, our Spider-Man.
And they look
Oh,
great.
so
They
cool.
look great, all
Yeah.
of them.
I mean, and the final fight was so cool. Like, I don't know, just all the choreography and stuff. It was just sick.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit more about the
Yeah,
final
absolutely.
fight? I think
Yes.
this is, like, since I've been talking, I've been trashing this movie a lot. This is one of the best act threes of a Marvel movie I've seen in a long time, especially after seeing so many energy heavy of just, you shoot the blue versus the red, blue wins, beat the red, like that kind of shit whenever you see someone that's super overpowered. But when you have people that have actual, like, powers that are defined, I think that just makes for a much better fight sequence. And I think that made this super cool. Even though it did get a little goofy with some of the bigger characters like Sandman, I didn't love. But like other than that, like when they're fighting people their size, I thought it was super cool. And I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, very true.
I honestly thought after first viewing, because I saw it twice, after the first viewing, I was like, I kind of expected a little more in the action of Act 3.
Yeah.
But seeing it the second time, I was like, it's okay. It's pretty good, actually.
I mean, after coming off of Shang-Chi, and I still haven't watched Eternals, I'll be honest. I'm not interested in it. Shang-Chi and just having like such a cool character that had a cool ability and then it just being wasted because it got turned into energy battles. This was kind of a breath of fresh air for me personally because that was the last thing I'd really watch. WandaVision was another one that did something like that. Like, I don't care. Like that's always the least favorite part of a Marvel movies when they start shooting beams at each other. It's not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. I love the camaraderie between the three of them.
Yes. Well, yeah, and like seeing them team up on stuff too. But like the scene like before the battle when they're like getting stuff ready in the lab, that was really fun. And then like the little banter before the battle, like when they're waiting. First of all, and also I love that line from Jameson that like where they like send out the video of like, come to the Statue of Liberty, like we'll be here. And then Jameson's like, Spider-Man on his way to deface another national monument.
The Statue of Liberty with the Captain America shield now.
Yeah, they got all the corrosion off, and that's going to be a real proper monument again. But yeah, no, that was great.
Speaking of that final battle, there's just a couple awesome moments that I really liked. My favorite moment from the movie that made me like actively well up, Andrew saving MJ. Was the best callback to his movies.
Yeah.
That and just Andrew was committing 100% to this movie, and I love it. That look he gives her when he catches her on the ground, and he's just like about to burst into tears, and she's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm okay."
He was hilarious.
Such a good redemption for him, and like it was just so good.
Listen, I give Andrew Garfield a lot of shit because he got a big head, and he looks like he's 12 and 40 at the same time. Man's a really good actor.
He did great in this one.
Man's a really, really good actor. Yeah, and he did really well in this. I think he was one of my favorite parts of this movie, which is so funny because I despise the Amazing Spider-Man, which
it's true.
sucks. Like, because I think they had and I think it's not because of him by any means. I think he still sold it well. It's just unfortunately it was just a mess of 2 movies. It made me want to go back and watch them, but it's like,
don't.
Then I remember that I'm not gonna like it. Like, if they made a new one with him and they actually knew what they were doing, I'd watch the hell out of that movie because that man was killing it. It makes me so sad. They did that man dirty.
Yeah. I like how Toby's the one to stop Tom from killing the Goblin at the end. I thought that was a really good moment.
Yes.
And I was so mad because I told Brian this when we recorded our little bit about the second trailer when you two dipped out. I made the prediction that I think Toby was going to die in this. And I'm so mad that I was so close to getting it right. As soon as he got stabbed, I'm like,
stupid.
They're going to do it. Oh my God.
Where the fuck your Spidey sense, bro?
But I didn't want them to kill him.
Ultimately, it was completely pointless though, which is why it's annoying.
But they just brush it off like, he's like, yeah, I get stabbed all the time. It's okay.
Bro, that's like
So
your kidney,
weird.
man. Are you good? You need to go somewhere? You're pissing blood. Like,
Yeah.
I think they just wanted us to be scared that he might die. But
Right.
I'm glad they didn't, because that would have been sad. Like, you know,
That's the death that I thought was going to happen, not Aunt May. I was like, because like in my head, I was like, it just, and I love the fact that Aunt May is the one that tells him the responsibility line. But just imagine if Toby told Tom the responsibility line in his dying breath. I was like, that would have been amazing.
That would have been
that would have been so
as a
cliche.
character. It wouldn't have meant as much to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like, it would have been cool as a fan.
I met this dude like 12 hours ago.
And they're just bringing them back. Like, I think it was nice that they all got to go back to their reality and hopefully have a happily ever after in their reality.
That is one thing I wanted out of this movie was just the tiniest bit of an epilogue. Like, if we could have gone just like one scene of them in their own respective universes just swinging or some shit, like, oh, that would have been so cool. But we didn't get it.
I feel like we never will, which makes me sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. This got a big resurgence. Who knows?
Yeah. Hot take. Tobey Maguire should have let Tom Holland just kill Green Goblin. Fuck redemption. They're like, he won't feel better. I'm like, he might. He looks like he's feeling pretty good right now.
No, Brian. All movies tell us that revenge doesn't make you feel better. It's in every movie.
Beat this. Well, those people didn't play Last of Us too.
And remember, Tobey's Spider-Man has that firsthand experience because he killed he didn't directly kill, but he was involved in the death of the guy that carjacked Uncle Ben, and it didn't make him feel any better. Uncle Ben was still dead. So, you know, he knew.
I understand why. I get it, but also, fuck him. Like, this dude, fuck him.
But in the end, Norman Osborn was also healed and went back to his land. So
I have a last thought. This movie is going to make a lot of people in suits get the complete wrong idea of what people want in media. And now we're going to get a bunch of stupid ass shows where they bring 3 characters of the same, of different universes that are the same character. We're going to get 3 Batmans now. We already have 3 Batmans.
Only a matter of time.
I feel like that's happening, right?
Yeah, we already getting 3 Batmans, and that's fucking stupid. We're gonna have like 3. Yeah, every single thing is gonna do that. Every property is gonna try to go for this because they think we want it. We don't.
What's a version where you think it would be a good choice? What franchise would do that?
Dragon Ball's been messing with that for a minute, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wait, really? There's been like, I get like with the whole Trunks.
Which
area.
heroes have had like 5
Trunks situation,
versions.
and there's the Super Dragon Ball Heroes played with a little bit in that game. They made a lot of promotion modes hero with that, where they'll bring like Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the GT era with the Super Saiyan Blue. And I mean, it's once again it's just fan service, but it was cool because you get to see 2 really strong people beat the shit out of somebody. So I thought that was cool. I'm trying to think. of other properties that even have multiple of the same character outside of comics.
I will say I don't think this movie would have happened without Into the Spider-Verse. Like, I think that the fact that Spider-Verse was so well done and so like well received, I think that probably had, Feige or whoever at Marvel looking over like, it's not that crazy. Like, we could probably do it. And they have all the money in the world to do it with.
So they put a pig in that movie. Like, you can do anything.
Right. But and it worked, But like, I think that. So I think without the success of that movie, I don't think this happens.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably my 3rd favorite Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man 2, and then it's the Spider-Verse, and then probably this. And then it's close Into the Spider-Verse, to be honest. I mean, that's just like a perfect movie in a lot of ways. I can only sing that movie's praises. And then Spider-Man 2 is just pure nostalgia. I just fucking love that shit.
Spider-Man 2 is the best sequel of all time.
So good.
Maybe the real question to ask is like maybe not like what versions they're going to combine, but just like it's only a matter of time until they combine every nerd franchise in one movie. So we're going to get a
It's the
Lord of the
metaverse.
Rings movie combined
I
with
mean,
Star Wars.
Disney's doing
combined
that
with,
now. They're just collecting them. So
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
have to buy. They have to get Lord of the Rings in there. Just have Aragorn yeet off of a.
oh my god,
Well, you got
have,
Ready Player One is a great example of that.
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
lot of fun watching that movie. I feel like small entities, small versions, like thrown out here and there would be great. Like
Mhm.
whether that's Ready Player
Right.
2 or like a completely new franchise. I think collaborating with different franchises and bringing things together. Aside from Marvel,
Oh shit!
is a
Can't wait
cool
for
idea.
Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah.
Let's
Yo,
go.
yeah.
We're gonna get the movie.
That'd be
Marvel
pretty
versus
awesome.
DC.
yeah. Real quick, last couple of things. More hand wavy stuff. They made Peter Parker have a fresh start at the end of this movie. He's poor again.
Mhm.
His life sucks. He's alone. He's going to community college. That's all great. Does he have an identity in this world anymore? Like, does he have fingerprints? Does he have
True.
a light? Like, I don't understand what this spell did, and they're never
Right.
going to talk about it, so whatever.
Does he have to change his name? Because his name's still Peter Parker, and then you have
I
May
don't-
Parker, and then he goes to the gravestone.
Like, does
and
he have
Happy's there.
grades from high school? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
No, he's Peter Parker, but the whole world forgot Peter Parker. So he could go reintroduce himself as Peter Parker, but
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
I would have seen that been like a situation at the gravestone. Like, how'd you know her? I was like, oh, you're Peter Parker too. That's weird. You didn't not related? What? May Parker?
I didn't
Okay.
get why he said I knew her from Spider-Man. Like, what does that mean?
So, yeah, I'm assuming, I guess does everyone have, whenever they have a memory of Infinity War and they see Spider-Man, he just has a blurry face? They're like, what did that guy look like
Yeah,
again?
I mean that's
I
kind
don't
of
remember what his face
That's
was.
actually
Like, what?
Yeah.
hilarious. They do a plot device in the new Final Fantasy MMO game where they call you the Warrior of Light because they did this weird thing. I'm sorry, I'm going on a completely different tangent, but it's so funny because they did basically exactly that. Where they erased the game and then restarted it basically because the game was just so bad that they just remade the game. So now they say everyone has blurry visions of who saved the world because when they see it, they're just enshrouded in light. So they call you the Warrior of Light because they don't remember what the fuck you look like.
That's what Spider-Man is.
And that's what they do with
Yeah.
that. So it's just every time you see Spider-Man, there's just a giant glow behind him. And you're just, who the fuck is that? Kind of like me right now. It's just kind of like, who's that?
Right.
Do you think the reason they left it off this way is because now they can do whatever they want with Spider-Man, whereas they could
Right.
do nothing with him, or they could bring him back in if he wants to?
While we figure out what we want to do with Sony, we're gonna
Right, exactly. So it's like
Yeah.
because
It
at
makes a lot
one
of
point,
sense.
like when the bad marriage was happening, when they're like, oh well, we're going to cut you off from Spider-Man. Spider-Man was that was right after Far From Home, and they had just lifted off this big plot twist, and it's like, you can't just write Spider-Man out. Like, no, you have to make this work. But now it's in a place where Spider-Man could just disappear.
Sadly,
and
Sony
no
could
one
just
would
take him
be the
back
wiser.
forever now.
Right.
Yeah.
To make more Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but I hope they don't. But
Yeah.
'cause- so maybe he'll come back. But
Yeah.
I think he'll come back. I think they're actively working on the next trilogy. They say, and he'll be in college now. And yeah,
We
It'll
probably
be
need some
interesting.
time away from Spider-Man as a whole anyway, to be honest.
and Tom Holland has said that he doesn't want to do Spider-Man into his 30s or whatever.
which I don't understand because I feel like that's like prime time Spider-Man is when he's in his 30s.
We never
you know?
get to that point. I want to see it.
I don't-
But I also
Like-
I also think that he might be doing that thing where it's just like, I don't want to be Spider-Man anymore for this price. Like I need $14 million.
right. Sony's not letting him go.
Yeah, like what about
no
$50
way.
million? It's like, well, I guess I could come back for one more Spider-Man.
I want to
suppose.
talk about these two real post-credit end credit scenes. They said, "Fuck you, Venom. Get out of our movie franchise. You're not wanted here."
Yeah, but I like the way they did it because I was a little let down that he never appeared in the movie, but I think now because he left a little bit of the alien behind, they're going to be able. MCU can do their own take on Venom, which will be cool.
And just make it a
100%.
different person completely, which sucks
that's
for
exciting.
Tom Hardy because he could have been a good one if they had been, if they'd done him appropriately.
I think so too.
It was really funny because in my movie theater, when they first showed him, someone goes, "Let's go!" And then when he disappears, they go, "Oh no!" And it was just like,
Oh, that's so funny.
"Oh man, that sucks." For
It
you,
did
huh?"
feel like a flex on Marvel's part because, Sony in Venom 2 at the end, Sony was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, we're gonna throw Venom in this," and then at the end of this, Marvel's like,
No,
"Nope,
we're not.
get your ass out, leave, please."
I was waiting for him the whole movie. Yeah, but now they're gonna get to do their own version of him, which is pretty cool.
Own Venom. It also didn't make sense why he was there. He didn't know who Peter Parker was, anyways. But whatever, who gives a shit? Don't matter.
Right.
He saw the TV in the reality, so maybe
Stupid.
That's what happened.
And then the last post credits was a trailer for Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice for a post credit thing. I wonder if that's going to be like their new cop out. Like, oh, everyone's always expecting us to do a post credit, but let's just throw a trailer in and call it a day.
Yeah.
It does feel like they've gotten a little lazier with the post credit scenes in the new ones. It feels like it's gotten kind of downhill.
I mean,
yeah.
But
it's
I don't know.
fine.
The trailer looked cool.
It was a cool trailer, though. It makes me excited to see more Doctor Strange stuff.
Yeah.
I was excited to see the first one, and I didn't like it very much. So
yeah,
you can show me all the realities blipping and stuff, and that's cool and everything. I do love the cinematography and the way that they kind of handle the CGI with those movies, but I'm still worried about the actual plot line being boring.
So yeah, you see Wanda, and then I guess the big thing is that evil Doctor Strange from the What If cartoon show?
It sure seems like it.
It seems like it, but I hope it's not. Only in the sense because at the end of What If, he was a good guy.
Right.
And he was like just watching over this little pocket universe. So I'm like, why is he? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Maybe it's not the exact same version of that, but maybe it's the similar events that transpired to make a evil Doctor Strange.
You know, we can say things like that now because that's what Marvel Universe is now. Where everything's just a branch of universes. So it doesn't even matter.
Infinite universes and infinite possibilities.
What if we didn't give him his own pocket universe to babysit? He'd just be a bad dude.
Yeah. This is a fun fact of trivia, which would have been amazing, but they could never have pulled it off. Their original marketing plan for this was to make this seem like a civil war between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and they weren't going to show any multiverse, anything. But then I think they're just like, it's going to leak. We're not going to get away with this. But like, how amazing would that have been if you just thought this was a Doctor Strange Spider-Man fight movie, and then all of this shit happened?
Yeah. Also, I feel like you guys talked about weak story points, and now I see those. I've taken the blinders off a little bit. The fact that Spider-Man would beat Doctor Strange in a fight is just no. I'm sorry. Like,
but geometry though.
That was fun. That was.
It was a fun scene, but like, come on, bro. Like, Doctor Strange could just throw him in a mirror dimension immediately, and it's just
the whole
it's
fact
over.
that his spider sense is the reason that he could control his astral form is bullshit.
Right.
I feel like magic outdoes spider sense, but whatever.
I think that's very real. If you kill a spider, like it's one of few insects or animals that can still like move their body parts after they're dead. Like their legs will twitch. I think it's more.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because he's a spider. His mind
that's
is
just energy leaving the body's legs.
His mind is separate from his body, but his body still has instincts. That's the
exact same thing as a
spider.
I mean, that's true.
Goku Ultra Instinct, yeah.
But I don't know, the fact that Doctor Strange has so many ways that he can beat enemies.
I feel like Doctor Strange came out looking real dumb in this movie.
Yes.
And then he's like, they're in that scene, and Spider-Man's just like, oh, it's not magic, it's just geometry, it's math. And then he like webs him up. It's like, okay. Like,
yeah, it's one of those things where it was a plot device where they have to make this character dumber, this very intelligent character. Like Doctor Strange is known for being a fucking, he's a doctor. Like, and then having him be nerfed to just being like a fucking concerned dad with magic powers just really disserviced him, I feel like.
And he might have been like holding back a little bit or something. But
yeah, that's what I think. He's just trying to teach him a lesson. And then Spider-Man was like, psh, geometry.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, those are all my major notes. Great movie. I honestly loved it. Can't wait to see it again when it actually comes out. Toby was the best. Andrew was amazing. Yeah.
I love the way Tobey Maguire handles paparazzi.
And then, quick question, guys. Now that we've established that Venom is going to be in the MCU, who would you cast as your MCU?
The kid from
Franco.
That 70s show.
Wait, which one? The main guy? Who's also
the one who was Venom in Spider-Man 3.
The guy from that.
Just bring him back.
He looks about the same. Man does not age.
What would you do if like it just cuts to like him in the church again? He's like, I want you to kill Peter Parker. And it just gets him again. It's like, damn it. We learned nothing.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I would have been fun. Nah. I don't think it can be Tom Hardy. He's too much older than Tom Holland.
That's fair.
And they've already established that it wouldn't be Tom Hardy. So
yeah.
You know what? I would I would
Wahlberg.
love if it were that other classmate, Flash. I think.
Oh,
that'd be pretty cool.
Well, Flash does become Venom at one point.
but I don't know. They made him kind of a lovable. Like he's
I don't
like
know
a
if he
bully,
can pull
but
it
he's
off.
not.
I don't think so
he's not
either.
Like that.
He's not a good enough, strong enough actor, I don't feel like.
It's the same thing with Ned, because Ned also in the comics becomes one of the hobgoblins, but I don't see him pulling that off either.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Real quick, can we talk about, I forgot about the scene where like he's going to school and like everybody knows he's Peter Parker. And then the teachers are like, feel free to swing or crawl to your classes. Like, and then Hannibal Buress comes out and he's like, Mysterio was right. Like, you were changed.
He's like
we know what you did.
Oh, yeah.
I love they put him in this movie
that.
for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. There was so many little moments like
I
that.
also liked the callback to Toby's hurting his back when Andrew Garfield cracks it. I thought that was very funny. that was really funny. That was really good.
Oh, that was funny.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
So dumb, but so fun. Amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet is going to be Venom. Heard it here first, folks.
Ooh.
Timothy Chalamet, another little small, frail white boy.
He's too scrawny.
As Venom.
They can bulk him up a little bit, feed him some potatoes. It'll be okay.
I don't know. All right. Is that it? Are we all good? Are we all been Spider-Man'd out?
Never.
Never.
I never.
Never.
Andrew
movie will
Garfield's
keep
my
going.
Spider-Man.
He's a great Spider-Man. Bad Peter Parker, but a great Spider-Man. Shall we move on to our final segment of the week, which we like to call Free for All, title pending. This is a segment, everyone, where we kind of do whatever we want. We can recommend something. We can talk about our day. We can say what we've done this past week. We can take a nap, and it'll just be silence audio for
Wait, we can do
20
that?
minutes. I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Good night.
But so who would like to go first?
I can actually go first because I actually got some stuff. I've been doing a whole lot of stuff since we've been taking this break. And by that, I've just been watching a lot of TV, playing a lot of video games. But I want to talk about a TV show that just started coming back on. It's actually on HBO called Euphoria. I wasn't initially going to watch the show, even though I do like Zendaya, which is funny because we talked about Zendaya. And this show is fucking nuts, dude. So I binged the whole thing and caught all the way up to the most recent episode. Fuck. They should call this show Triggering the TV Show because it is all about sex and drugs and addiction and other just very harmful, triggering things to people. So I would say if you have anything that you feel a little insecure about, I would not recommend this show. Because they're going to put it in your face in a way that's really going to fuck you up. It's very 13 Reasons Why, very Degrassi of like, imagine if you have a bunch of fucking rich kids that have the worst lives ever and then put them all together. And this is what you get this show. There's a bunch of psychopaths just hanging out.
Yeah. Seen the memes.
It's keeping up with the Kardashians. Got him!
Oh, got him. No, this show is wild. And Zendaya's performance is amazing. There's a lot of iconic characters that come through this. And it's a very strongly written show. I'm surprised at how good it is.
I've heard a lot of really good things about it.
But it's hard to recommend because, yeah, it's a feeler.
Yeah, I think I just got Zendaya fatigue, to be honest.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, I get so immersed in it that I almost don't see her as Zendaya. They definitely bum her up because, no spoilers, but she is a drug addict in this TV show. And that's kind of following her life as a drug addict in high school and dealing with that kind of stuff. So she looks pretty shitty whenever you see her on screen. So you're probably not going to think of Zendaya. You're like, damn, homegirl Rue got a bad life. And you'll just keep saying that over and over and over.
Yikes.
But yeah, if your mental health is doing well, I'd highly recommend. If it's not doing well, maybe sit out for a little bit on this one. Because especially binging it definitely made me be like, whew. It reminds me of the same way I felt when I binged Grey's Anatomy, where you just kind of feel bad afterwards. You know what I mean? Like life just feels a little more bleak after you finish watching. But yeah, would highly recommend.
Not a pick-me-up show, more of a downer show.
Yes, it is very much a downer show. Get a palate cleanser afterwards. Please watch some cartoons or something after you watch it.
Yeah.
I know the cinematography is really praised. Every time I see like images and videos, it looks like really amazing.
Yeah, that and the editing's really cool. The way they handle a lot of that stuff. It's a really smart show. I like the way they break the fourth wall and stuff just randomly in there. It gives me.
Oh, interesting.
What kind of?
Oh,
yeah.
That's not an element I thought would be in that show.
Yeah, a lot of times, Rue, the main character Zendaya, is like the omniscient narrator of other people's lives as well. Even though she herself, the character Rue, doesn't know what's happened to this person in that time, but she'll narrate it as if she does. No, it's super cool. I think that it's especially like you, Alex. If you like that kind of show that has really good cinematography and stuff, you'll really like a lot of those shots that they do. The lighting's super cool in a lot of those shots, and yeah, the editing. That's my favorite part. Is the way they edit it.
Very cool.
Nice.
Well, I'll go next. I have something exciting that happened recently. Everybody knows that I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, the original and the remake, which I'm very close to beating both. But I feel like I've hit that perfect moment where I'm very close to beating it, and then I just struggled to pick it up for the last section. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll get through both of them soon. But with that said, the Final Fantasy VII remake orchestra is going on a world tour. It's kind of similar to like Kingdom Hearts or Legend of Zelda. These people that make the music reorchestrate it for a live orchestra, and then they go on a world tour and they play the shit out of the music for like a live performance. And I've always wanted to go to one of these. And when I saw ads for the Final Fantasy VII tour, I was like, oh, let's fucking go. Because one of the things I love about both of these games is the music, which I think I've talked about before. So it was really fucking cool. We got tickets a while back, and it finally happened a week or two ago. And man, oh man, was it exciting. We went to Manhattan, me and my wife, and it was this beautiful, beautiful venue, really old, like cathedral style. And man, it was just really, really amazing to like feel the bass and like be able to see everybody like playing the instruments. It was really fascinating. And the conductor was like probably like a super fan. He seemed a little bit nerdy and was like really excited and like hyping up the crowd and stuff. And they had like the screen on to show like different scenes and cut scenes of like gameplay and like dramatic cutscenes while the music is taking place to kind of like set the vibe and kind of show you what story elements are happening during certain sections of songs and stuff. And it was really, really, really cool. I think one of my favorite parts was like they finished, they said their goodbyes, they bowed and everything. And then everyone was applauding, and they actually came back for an encore, which I wasn't expecting.
Oh, hell yeah,
I mean, everybody does encores now, but I never went to like a symphony or an orchestra where they had an encore, so that was pretty cool.
Did they have to bring out all their instruments back out, or did they leave them out there before?
They had just the conductor left. It was like a very, very. It was 100%. 100% planned encore. Like everybody stayed seated. People were clapping for not even a minute before he comes back on. He's like, okay, we'll play a couple more songs.
Oh, that's so cool.
But awesome. It was cool. Yeah, after they came back, they played a couple songs towards the very end of the game. I'm assuming that I haven't really gotten to, but it seemed like it was like the last couple of battle scenes and like a lot of like Sephiroth like theme music and stuff.
I was about to say, did they play Sephiroth's song, the One Winged Angel?
So they this is a question I have for you, Brian. Maybe you'll know. There's one song that the crowd went absolutely nuts for, and I only remember hearing it one other time. Like I said, I haven't finished Final Fantasy, but I remember hearing it in Kingdom Hearts when you kind of play the game and you can kind of discover him as like a playable secret boss in Kingdom Hearts 1 and in 2.
That's the one. That's One Winged Angel.
Yeah. And it's a fucking fire song. Yeah.
Sephiroth. Yeah,
yes.
They only say the name in it. Like,
yeah. That is it.
Keep going.
But they correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that song is anywhere in Final Fantasy. Is that right?
I don't know if it's in the original one. I think it's definitely in the soundtrack, but I'm trying to think where it would play in the game. Because I think when you fight him, it doesn't.
I haven't heard it yet, but like I said, I haven't gotten to the last mission.
Yeah, whenever you're hanging out with them, they don't play it. So I think it's just the last battle that you actually hear that song.
Whenever you're hanging out with them.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know the story of Final Fantasy VII, but you don't always know that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, we used to be friends.
Yeah, I've actually been playing through Final Fantasy VII Original as well. When I was thinking about you, and I wanted to talk to you about it a little bit because of that. Because I was like, I just love this game so much.
Yeah, I would love to do an episode about it. It seems kind of odd to me. This is a small tangent, and it seems kind of odd to me that the whole plot line, more or less, of the game is based around Cloud just wanting to be, quote, and I quote from the script, as cool as Sephiroth is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just wants to be a cool person like Sephiroth,
And that's what's
that's
so
the main
funny to
loser.
theme of
me.
the movie, the game.
And maybe you've gotten some of that because you played the remake now, because you can definitely tell from playing the remake kind of what they were trying to get at. It's hard to, because it's, it's all just screen text. But like Cloud is pretty lame. And like I remember being a kid and like hating Cloud. I was like, why is this guy trying so hard to be fucking cool? And it's like, but you never really knew why. I just thought it was weird anime, like main character kind of energy. But it's because he's trying so hard to be like Sephiroth. So he wants to be the cool, like, oh yeah, I don't care about anything. He wants to be like that super bad, but he's not that kind of person. And you kind of see people like as he starts growing through like the story of like he's starting to figure out who he is as a person, and that's supposed to be part of his like journey. Is stop being just a snot-nosed kid that thinks he's the coolest person on earth and actually caring about something. And that's when he meets all these friends and sees the world the way it is. He's like, man, maybe I should actually do something and stop being a piece of shit. Like
Maybe you should start caring.
Right. And then Sephiroth come down and he said, fuck you.
I finally got it for PS5. And so I think I'm going to start playing it now, finally.
Oh, nice.
Sony just gave it to you for free, and I was like, yes.
The remake is really freaking great. It's one of my favorite RPGs of late.
Yeah. I'm getting upset because, of course, I got it for free on PlayStation 4, but now they released it on PC. I have a really good PC, so I can probably make the game look really fucking good. But it's $70.
Ooh.
And I doubt it's
Welcome
going down
to next gen.
anytime soon. Yeah, and I'm like, and it comes with like integrate and everything, and that's cool. So I get Yuffie, but it's just like, that's really fucking annoying.
That's a lot. When you already got it for free, I don't know.
I don't think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm just gonna play it on PS4.
Yeah,
I'm mad about it. I'm salty.
That's fair.
Well, yeah, that's my free for all. I'm waiting. I gotta finish those games so I can hear One Winged Angel again. But yeah, it was a great performance. I had a great time.
That's awesome. I'm jealous.
Yeah. I can go next. Yeah, like Brian was doing a lot of shit over the break, so I'm gonna rattle off just two things real quick. One, I finally saw the movie Encanto. Which was the music with Lin-Manuel Miranda had done it. It's a great movie. It's not on Moana level, which is the other. I'm only comparing because that's the other one that he wrote the music for. It's not as good as that, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun, cute movie. Basic premise: they're the X-Men of a family. They each have powers with this magical world. They're the house they have in Colombia. And it's about the main daughter, Maribel, who she didn't get a power. She was the only one in the family that never got a power, and so she's the odd one out. But it's a cool journey. The music's pretty good. There is two main songs that are damn good, and I've been listening to like on repeat.
About Bruno.
Yeah, yes. Yes, that is one of the songs. There's another song. Surface Pressure. The older sister sings it, and it is so good. Luisa sings it.
Yeah.
It's funny about this movie because I've been told that how you feel about the movie really comes down to whether or not you have significant trauma in your family as a person of color. Because like the thing about like they don't talk about Bruno and stuff is like if you never had any trauma, you're like probably like, oh, this is fun, like whatever, fine. And it's like, yeah, no, we have that family member in our family. It's exactly like this. Like, yeah, I'm feeling this heavy. Like,
wow, that's funny.
So I think that's funny.
So Luisa is like the strong sister. And apparently the character design, like they had to fight Disney really hard because Disney wanted to make her just like the other girls, like kind of more slender and like more Disney princessy. But they fought her really hard on the character design. And then Disney apparently produced less like toys and stuff of the strong sister. But now it's like the most popular.
She's so beloved
of all of them.
That song, she's got the best number in my opinion in that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So but also for like, her body type and everything. So like Disney had to backtrack and like, well, not backtrack, but kind of revise their opinion because they were wrong. It was a classic case of like Suits thinking they know what people like, but actually being incorrect.
Yeah.
That I appreciate you talking about that because I think that's really important. One thing that I don't like a lot about Activision Blizzard, but I do appreciate the way that they treat a lot of women characters, especially in Overwatch. Well, maybe not characters when they come to World of Warcraft, but in Overwatch specifically, they have women of a lot of different diversities, of like a lot of culture differences, they're different races, and also different body types. They have a strong character in that. She's a power lifter. Her name is Zarya. She has these pink hair and she's ripped up like Rambo and stuff. And they have a character that's chunky. Her name's Mei. She's a little chunky Chinese girl. And just like things of that, like stop making women characters be so, I don't know, typecasted into this one slender kind of character.
90s.
Right, exactly. Like we've gone beyond that now. We know that women exist in different forms. Believe it or not, people are different. What? So embrace that and have that be a thing. I did appreciate that in Last of Us 2 as well, where they had a character that was a straight woman that was just strong as fuck because she had to be, based on what she had to do in her life. So like that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like do more of it so people can see themselves in the things that they watch, things they consume.
Oh, show.
Absolutely. Yeah, great movie. Other thing, real quick, I watched on New Year's Day. I watched the Harry Potter anniversary
Oh,
special.
yeah, that was sweet.
I saw that.
That was it was a lot of fun. It was really cute. Not as in depth, I think, as I had wished for, but still pretty good, pretty fun. They don't acknowledge the JK thing, but they also don't really talk about it. She's in it.
She's in it.
But
I thought they did a good way of acknowledging things. They had like lots of interviews with everybody, and her interview was the only one that had filmed in 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like clearly on a green screen. So like we didn't interview her recently.
Right. Yeah,
Shady.
absolutely.
Take no responsibility.
That was funny. But no, I thought it was cute, and there was some kind of fun little tidbits here and there.
Yeah, fun
it was
stories.
just nice to be back in that world, even though it's like I can't believe it's been that long since that first movie. So it is a little weird that we're already having a reunion, but it was still a lot of fun. It was cool.
Yeah, I love the two little tidbits I love from that were that Dumbledore, the first Dumbledore in the first two movies, I can't remember his name, but he was so perfectly Dumbledore, right? But yeah, but when he passed away, but like so in the second one when they had the fox, the phoenix in the office.
Oh yeah, he didn't realize it wasn't a real one.
Like yeah, so it's an animatronic robot bird, right? And there's people controlling it, and he goes up to it and he's like, wow, it's so crazy how they train these birds these days. And then they just leaned into it and never told him like that it wasn't a real bird. And then it made sense like when they got into like the Goblet of Fire, it made sense of like why like that one scene where Dumbledore's like, "Hey, did you put your name in the goblet? Did you put your name in the goblet?" Or in the book he's like, "Harry, did you put your name in the goblet?" It's because the director was a freaking crazy ass dude. Like he tried to fight the Weasley twins on set and he broke a rib.
Cracked a rib.
Like in a fun way, but like still it's like
in a fun way. Is there a fun way to crack a rib? What the fuck?
Yeah, like all the actors were saying like he was just the craziest person ever, and like that's probably why that scene read so much differently in the movie than it did in the book because the guy was insane. So anyway,
so funny.
That was very cool. Yeah, I watched that too, and it made us go back through and watch all the movies again. So it was nice to go back into the world of Harry Potter.
I don't need to go back, but I want to.
Yeah. All right, well, mine can be really quick. I finished Halo Infinite, but I think Brian and I will do a mini-sode talking about Halo Infinite. Loved it. Didn't love the story, but like a lot of people did. But I thought it was interesting, but whatever. But the gameplay was so much fun. And then, real quick, I don't know if this will be like the next Squid Game, but so my girlfriend and I have been watching this show called Archive 81 on Netflix. And it's like a psychological thriller, like a cult kind of thing, and like a girl that disappears and like this guy's trying to piece together these tapes of this girl that disappeared in this like building, and he's kind of involved in it too. So right now we're like 2 episodes in, and I have so many questions, and it's a very well structured mystery kind of horror kind of thing. So
interesting.
I wonder if everybody will kind of get onto it, but if not, I mean I don't know. But if you guys get around to it, let me know because it's fun so far. 2 episodes, two episodes out of 8 in. It's pretty.
What's it called again?
Intriguing. Archive 81. It's on Netflix.
Word. Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's very
nice.
It's got me hooked so far.
It's been on the top spot a couple of days on Netflix so far, so I think people are liking it, but I haven't heard too much about it yet.
Nice. Sweet. That's about it. Thank you for listening, everyone. You can email us at thefortressof@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions, concerns, recommendations, anything. If you're mad that we nitpicked the fuck out of Spider-Man, I don't want to hear it. But and just email us if you want to talk about anything in the future. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Fortress of, and the Fourtress of YouTube channel as well. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Create a multiverse. Find other versions of you to tell. We're expanding our horizons to other multiverses now, other universes.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. In this current universe, you can follow me on Instagram. My new name is Peterson Films. That's Peterson spelled Petersen. There's no O's in my name. Peterson Films at Instagram. You can also check me out. I just got a flashy new website. If you're interested in any of my cinematography and work, you can check me out at petersonfilms.com.
Let's go.
Nice.
You can follow me on Facebook at It's By The Way. That is ITC by the way. ITZ, by the way. You can also follow me on Instagram at ITZ_ by the way. Or you can follow me on twitch.tv/bythewayx.
You can follow me at
There's no time, Devin. You have to get back to the
Nuts.
multiverse. We have to move on. There's no time.
Don't talk about Bruno.
Just look around a little bit. You'll find me.
Devin's our Bruno.
Yo, talk about Devin.
Talk about Devin. No.
Thank you, Brian, for the art. Thank you, Alex, for the music. Devin, thanks for being our Bruno. Then thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Put a code on its code out there. We appreciate you for listening. And we'll see you here next week in another episode of the Fourtress of...
Yeah, shorts. Doom, 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 doom. Do, say, Sephora. Yeah.